Hi, and welcome to One Life Matters, the podcast that reminds you that your life is worth living with purpose, joy, and authenticity. I'm Trish, a counsellor and life coach, and I'll be sharing down to earth conversations, insights, and tools to help you navigate the ups and downs of life. Whether you're healing from the past, finding your confidence, or simply wanting to feel more at peace with yourself, this is your space. Because you only get one life and it truly matters. Just before we get into this episode, I just want to mention that this podcast is for general information, insight, and reflection only. It's not a substitute for personal therapy, counselling, or medical advice. We spend a massive amount of our daily lives arguing with reality. Think about the sheer volume of mental energy you burn every week, replaying arguments in your head, raging against bad drivers, or refusing to acknowledge that a plan has completely fallen apart. We tell ourselves, this shouldn't be happening. They shouldn't have said that. Or things were supposed to turn out so differently. But here's the uncomfortable truth. What if the single greatest reason for your stress isn't the situation itself, but your refusal to accept that it's actually happening? Today, I want to talk about why learning how to practice true acceptance might just be the most transformative skill you ever develop. Over the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to unpack what acceptance really is and, more importantly, what it isn't. Because somewhere along the line, acceptance got a bad reputation. People confuse it with giving up and backing down or letting life walk all over them. So I want to dismantle those myths completely. We'll look at the brain science and psychology behind resistance, explore how dropping your internal defense mechanisms actually restores your personal power. And I want to give you 3 effective practical tools you can use to shift your perspective instantly when life hits you sideways. I'm going to share a quick story from quite a few years ago. I was flying out to Spain for Christmas to see family, which I'd been preparing and looking forward to for months. I got to the airport early, sat at the gate, feeling ready, happy, and excited. Then came the announcement. A mechanical failure. Delayed 2 hours. Then 3 hours. Then delayed until further notice. My immediate visceral reaction was pure fury. I marched up to the desk, heart pounding, jaw clenched, demanding for more information as this delay was eating into my 4 short enough days of my trip. I sat back down, got back up, and spent the next hour pacing around in circles, stressed right out, running through a mental loop of, this can't be happening. Everything's ruined. They have to fix this. Do you know what I was doing? I was demanding that the universe unbrake an airplane engine through the sheer force of my outrage. By the time I finally realized I wasn't getting on a flight anytime soon, I was physically and mentally exhausted. And I wasn't exhausted from the delayed flight, but from spending a good few hours waging war against a fact that had already occurred. The plane was grounded. That was the reality. And instead of thinking, well, what's a girl to do but head over to duty free? My resistance to accept that reality didn't fix the engine. It ruined my afternoon and drained every ounce of energy I had left to find a solution. And that brings us to the core of today's conversation. Why do we do this to ourselves? And how do we stop? But before we can actually practice acceptance, we have to clear away the clutter and myths around the word itself. I think the main problem is when people hear the word acceptance, they think of defeat. That's the first myth. They picture someone throwing their hands up saying, well, I guess this is just my life now. There's nothing I can do. That's not acceptance. That's passive resignation. Resignation sounds like everything is awful. I'm helpless and I just have to suffer through it. It's passive, it's hopeless, and quite frankly, it's bloody exhausting. Acceptance is the exact opposite. Acceptance sounds like, this is where I am right now. This is the truth of the moment. Now, given these exact facts, what's my smartest next move? Resignation shuts down action, and acceptance helps you to box clever. The second big myth we have to dismantle is the idea that accepting something means you approve of it or that you think it's okay. Let's be extremely clear about this. Like I recently said to a client of mine, you do not have to like what you're accepting. You don't have to endorse it, condone it, or think it's fair. If you have a person in your life whose words don't always match their actions, accepting that truth doesn't mean you approve of it. It doesn't mean you think their unreliability is acceptable. It just means you stop fighting the obvious. They are unreliable. As long as you refuse to accept that fact, you stay stuck demanding that an unreliable person magically acts reliably. That emotional loop keeps you frustrated, powerless, and can sometimes cause you great pain. Accepting the reality of who they are allows you to stop expecting oranges from an apple tree and start making decisions based on facts instead of wishful thinking. The third myth is that acceptance is a sign of weakness. But denial is an automatic, instinctual defense mechanism. It takes zero courage to stick your head in the sand and pretend a relationship isn't falling apart or ignore a growing health issue. Facing unvarnished reality without sugarcoating it, well, that takes immense bravery. It's not weakness at all. You can't change a reality you refuse to look at. And you can't navigate out of a dark forest if you refuse to admit you're lost. When you practice acceptance, you stop burning your precious energy demanding that reality be different than it currently is. And that brings us to how we actually take this philosophy and put it into practice in our daily lives. So now that we've cleared away the myths and defined what acceptance truly is, let's talk about the payoff. Why do the hard mental work of accepting things we don't like? What actually changes when you stop fighting reality? The short answer is this: you reclaim your power. Now, I want to make a crucial distinction between what is called clean pain and dirty pain. Clean pain is the primary hurt. It's the grief of a loss, the sting of a rejection, the physical ache of an injury, or the disappointment of a missed opportunity. Clean pain is clean because it's real, it's direct and unavoidable. It is a natural, automatic, immediate human reaction to a hard event. Dirty pain, on the other hand, is the secondary suffering we create on top of the original event. Dirty pain is the story, it's the outrage, the self-pity, and the resistance. It's the voice saying, why is this happening to me? This isn't fair and everything is ruined. Clean pain is the wound, and dirty pain is rubbing salt into it every 5 minutes while complaining that it hurts. When you practice acceptance, clean pain still exists. You might still feel sad and disappointed or frustrated, but you instantly eliminate the dirty pain. You stop multiplying your own suffering, and the amount of mental bandwidth that frees up is staggering. And it's about moving from feeling helpless to taking control. When you fight reality, you get stuck reacting to it, letting a past event you can't change drain your energy today. Acceptance is the exact moment you reclaim your power to choose what comes next. Think of it like using a GPS. To give you directions to where you want to go, it needs one basic fact first. Where are you right now? If you're stuck in a muddy ditch, but you keep telling the GPS, calculate my route from the motorway because that's where I should be, it won't work. You can only start driving from where your tyres actually are. Acceptance is just like dropping a pin on your true location. It's looking at the map, seeing the mud and saying, okay, I'm in a ditch. Now, how do I get out? That's the moment you take back control. And this isn't just self-help philosophy. It has profound effects on your body and neurological health. When you fight reality, your body stays stuck in survival mode. Your heart races, muscles stay tense, and stress hormones flood your system. Worst of all, the smart, logical part of your brain goes offline. Accepting reality signals to your body that you are safe. Your heart rate slows, your muscles relax, and your clear-thinking brain turns back on. Acceptance literally gives you back access to your intelligence. It transforms your brain from a panicking threat detector into a clear-headed command center. But how do we actually do this? How do we build acceptance into our brain muscle memory? So I want to share 3 specific actionable tools you can start using today. Firstly, let's look at the reality check tool. For the next 2 days, listen for how often you use the word should. Traffic shouldn't be this bad. He shouldn't have said that. Saying should means you're arguing with reality. But arguing with reality never changes it. It just drains your energy. When you catch a should in your head, stop and flip your focus to what is actually happening right now. Don't dwell on, I shouldn't have to deal with this. Acknowledge reality. This is what I'm dealing with. Should leaves you stuck in a bad mood. What is lets you move forward. The moment you state reality as it is, you can finally ask the only question that matters. Okay, what am I going to do about it? Instead of traffic shouldn't be moving this slow, shift to traffic is moving this slow. Notice the subtle drop in tension when you make that switch. Should creates friction, is brings clarity. Once you state what is, you move from reaction to action. You can make a conscious decision. Do I take a detour? Do I call someone? Do I listen to a One Life Matters podcast? You reclaim control. The second tool is the 2-box exercise. If you're feeling overwhelmed, take out a physical piece of paper and draw 2 boxes side by side. In box A, write down everything in this situation that's within your direct, immediate control. And that includes your actions and your words, your attitude and your next step. In box B, write down everything outside of your direct control. And that includes other people's opinions, the outcome of a decision, past events, and how long a process takes. Now, here's the golden rule. Focus 100% of your energy on box A and just leave box B completely alone because it's completely out of your control. Every second spent worrying about box B is energy stolen from your real choices in box A. When you visually separate the 2 on paper, you regain control. And finally, tool number 3 addresses where we store resistance most deeply, and that's in our bodies. And this is what's known as somatic acknowledgement, which simply means paying attention to where emotion lives physically in your body without trying to change it or suppress it or talk yourself out of it. When something difficult happens, our default reaction is emotional resistance. We tighten up, we hold our breath, or push the feeling down. But fighting an emotion actually prolongs it. The next time a wave of frustration, grief, or anxiety hits, stop trying to talk yourself out of it. Instead, drop down into your body and locate the feeling. Ask yourself, where am I holding this? Is it a knot in my stomach, a tightness in my throat, a clenching in my jaw? Name it neutrally. I notice a tight chest. Then just notice it without reading into it and just let that physical sensation exist there for just 30 seconds. Don't try and fix it or calm it down or analyze why it's there. Just notice and accept it's there. When you stop fighting the sensation, the body recognizes that it's safe, and the emotional surge naturally begins to get less and less. Acceptance isn't just a mental thing, it's a physical release of defense mechanisms. But to wrap up today's conversation, remember this: acceptance is not passive, and it's never a sign of weakness. It's the clearest, most courageous account of reality you can take. It strips away the friction of dirty pain, takes your nervous system out of panic mode, and puts you right back in the driver's seat of your life. So here's your challenge for the week. Identify one small area in your life where you notice yourself fighting reality. It could be an annoyance like a late train, a rainy day, or an unreliable someone. Catch yourself in the moment. Drop the word should and tell yourself, this is what's happening. Observe how your body feels when you let go of the fight. Because every time you lay down that struggle and practice acceptance, you create room for peace, clarity, and the freedom to move forward. Thank you for joining me on One Life Matters. If today's episode spoke to you, I'd love you to subscribe and maybe share it with someone who might need it too. And remember, you only get one life, so make it one that truly matters. Until next time, take care of yourself.